Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. It is the Pleb Underground. I am your host, Coin Icarus and or Phil. All right. So not only did we have the all-time, well, I shouldn't say the all-time high, but new price discovery, new high in Bitcoin yesterday as we were live, but apparently the fireworks did not end and we're sitting somewhere at like 117 and change. So this is going to be kind of a fun, celebratory TGIF kind of episode. And we're going to kick it off first with a reminder to everyone not to shitcoin. Or according apparently what happened to Ben, right? Don't place harassing phone calls because eventually you're going to end up like this. So for the people who, for whatever reason, don't know who BitBoy is, right? BitBoy was probably one of the bigger media accounts for crypto. And he definitely, I know that some people will praise him and say, yep, we made a lot of money with him and everything. But the reality is he showed a bunch of trash. And the arc of this character, unfortunately, went down the tube. And obviously mental illness is nothing to, nothing to laugh at or anything. But guys, it's just not worth it. It is not worth it. Anyways, we've got a whole bunch of other stuff. Just your friendly reminder, don't shitcoin. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff to take a look at. That's right. We've got Bitcoin getting integrated into video games. We're also going to pay a little tribute here to the Bitcoin haters on this special day. Guys, before we do, you know the deal. We're going to give some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor, Archimedes Emporium. And we'll be right back. 20 seconds, folks. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. They make absolutely beautiful Bitcoin branded products. They just dropped their first one. It is the solid aluminum Bitcoin clock. I had to get my hands on it so that I could show it to you guys. Take a look. Really, really nice piece. Beautiful craftsmanship. Head on over to archamp.co. The link is going to be in the show notes. That is Archimedes Emporium. Head on over there. You know how we always, I always tell you guys that you shouldn't, we shouldn't be listening to all of these rando accounts on Twitter, on X. I'm a rando account as well. Anyways, so here we go. We're going to take a look at some of these terrible takes where if you listen to these people, you took stock in what they said, you may find yourself in a situation where you're freaking wrecked or full of regret. Or a combination of those things. Anyways, let's dive into it. Here we go. All right, so this account, this is what I do. I save a bunch of this stuff. So this is from March 17th, right? When we first had a kind of our first breakout, right? And this guy right away, he's ready. He's ready to call the top. That's it. Bitcoin bull cycle is over. Expecting 6 to 12 months of bearish or sideways action. Wrong. I love these accounts. And in all fairness to this account, there were Bitcoiners at that time that were also like, do you see the top signals? And these are people that have been around for multiple Bitcoin cycles, bull bear cycles. There's no fucking excuse. There is no excuse. So just remember, everybody's a scammer. Everybody's a scammer. Okay. Moving on to one of my new favorite accounts that has Bitcoin derangement syndrome. Apparently, Finance Lot is hurting really bad. That's right, guys. June 26th. We all know this post. I mean, if you spend enough time on Bitcoin Twitter, you know this post. Yep, he's warned us again and again and again. 112K was Bitcoin's top. It will never go any higher, ever. So look, I hope for this person that they're just a troll account, because the truth of the matter is that otherwise it's horribly embarrassing, and you can't expect to be asking people to pay for subscriptions to your services and stuff like that if you're just blatantly putting out hyperbolic crap. Which I get it, right? It's for engagement, so fair enough, right? He's engaging, and I am being engaged, and I'm taking the bait, right? I'm engaging with him. But yeah, these accounts, they say things with such certainty, and this is a good point, right? This is a great reminder about people who speak with a lot of confidence about things that they know very little about, or something that they overestimate that they know about. We are often more taken in by a person who speaks very confidently and surely about what they're saying, instead of somebody who is more objective, middle of the road, and a balanced take. That person will give off less of a sign of confidence in terms of perception. So it's just something to think about. And a lot of the people that we get taken in often sound, the most confident. So just something to think about. Anyways, all right. So finance lot, he's down bad. That's no surprise. All right, let's keep going here. Okay. So here's another good one. This account, okay. Nope, not that account. Thought it was. Is it? Sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. Anyways, Dividend Hero. You might remember this account. I had retweeted this, and I alluded to the fact that this is going to age poorly. And he said he would rather simply own the S&P 500 for the next 10 years than Bitcoin. And this is February 8th, 2024. I think the price of Bitcoin was around 60K, and he's pretty pleased with this 171%, right? It's pretty good, I guess. Yeah, why not? All right. So did a little digging, and here you go. Here's from 2012, right? Up until today's date. Here you go. This is what you'd be looking at if you held Bitcoin, and this is what you'd be looking at if you held the Standard & Poor's. Okay, so he's so far completely wrong, and this is the Dividend Hero. This is why we're not supposed to have heroes, guys. I mean, look, this is a Dividend Hero, and he's just teaching you to simply underperform Bitcoin. Next, right? We've got the compound annual growth rate. Comparing the two. Still really want to be holding the Standard & Poor's? Really? Really? I don't think so. Okay. Last piece of evidence to destroy the Dividend Hero. So here we go. Now we've got them side by side, percentage growths, right? Look at 2013. I missed that by a couple of years. So disappointed. But anyways, who cares? Because there's a whole bunch of other great action that happened here. And as you can see, that the Standard & Poor's just simply completely pales in comparison to holding Bitcoin. It's brutal, guys. It is just absolutely brutal. Okay. Now for the last one, I guess it's the pièce de Renaissance, right? Some people may remember this interview from 2020, Peter Zihan, right? Yeah, you guys, you know. I think Bitcoin was at 17K or something at that time. He's a geopolitical strategist, a speaker, an author, and joined my Patreon. This is what kills me, though, right? When educated people fall for their own bullshit, they can't get out of their own way. And I'm not saying that this doesn't happen to uneducated people. This happens to all of us. This is a human issue. But I find it especially entertaining when people are educated and they fall for these things, because according to the narrative that we're all fed, right? When we're more educated, we're less susceptible to scams. We understand more. All of that. So none of that's true. None of that's true at all. Okay, so let's go take a look at what Peter had to say on Joe Rogan. For the people who don't remember this one.
So it has what's Bitcoin at? 16,000. No intrinsic value to this asset. And now it's starting to be priced appropriately. So it has what's Bitcoin at? 16,000. It has another 17,000 to go down.
Really?
Okay, so he thinks it should be worth minus $1,000. Geopolitical strategist, folks.
Really? Yeah, there's no intrinsic value to this product.
And do you think that people have just inherently lost faith in the idea?
He calls it a product. It's actually a token and a network. It's two separate things that come together to provide the qualities of Bitcoin. Anyways, geopolitical strategist, very educated.
Behind crypto because of FTX?
Well, it became an ideology. And whenever you invest based on an ideology, you're going to make some decisions that are a little divorced from math.
And what do you mean by ideology?
Literally, Bitcoin is math. I mean, this is scary stuff, right? That this guy was saying, this is nuts.
Well, the people who really like crypto are convinced that it's the currency of the future and that a decentralized ledger is the way to go, and that anything that is controlled by a government entity is by definition a negative, and if it's done by the private sector freely, it will be better. And that's just not how currency works. Currency is a method of exchange and a store of value. And for that, there has to be a degree of trust, and you have to have it managed in terms of volume. I mean, one of the craziest things about Bitcoin is that there will never be more than X number of units of Bitcoin. Well, by default, that means it can't be used for trade, because the whole idea of economic activity is that there's expansion, which means you need more currency to lubricate and manage that expansion.
What's really scary to me, again, right, is the level of education that this guy's that this guy has, the complete lack of any type of research into Bitcoin, or for that matter, how money and how value has been exchanged throughout human history. Yeah, Bunny, his take is terrible. I mean, just think about it. If you listen to this guy because you thought he was smarter than you, unfortunately, you missed out on generational wealth, right? You missed out on the ability to not only improve your life and take back command of your time, but if you have kids, well, you screwed it up for them too. It's just, I mean, obviously you can go out and start, accumulating Bitcoin and learning about it now. But the point is that listening to this guy back then, like, this is, these guys, they scare me so much. And what really scares me, actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that. It's not these people that scare me so much. It's the people that listen to them and then amplify their signal. That's right. It's not the tyrants, it's the enablers. So yeah. Yes, exactly. I said that before. I don't know when you joined the stream, but this is exactly it, right? We are all susceptible to this.
If currency is locked in at a specific number, you get monetary inflation, and that is one of the fastest ways to destroy an economic model.
So because of the...
Don't we have monetary inflation right now?
lack of Bitcoin, because there's a certain controlled number, the only thing that can happen is Bitcoin becomes more expensive.
Right. And that means that the people who hold it are the ones that make the money, but everyone else suffers. I'm sorry, that's not viable. The alternative is you have some private dude out there who generates the coins on a whim. How is that different from the monetary reserve or the monetary authorities that we have at the Federal Reserve, except for the point that there's no accountability? No.
Yeah, that's right, guys. If you listen to Pete, you listened to him back in 2020 when Bitcoin was around 17 or 16.5K. He led you down a bad path. Got you wrecked. Although I know the majority of this audience has not listened to him, and that's why we're celebrating today. We're laughing at these people, just totally laughing at them. Okay, so now from the haters, we paid our tribute to these guys that are completely wrong about Bitcoin. And just keep in mind, right, to the comment that was left here about Zihin's ignorance, right? Like when I first got into Bitcoin, I didn't get it either, and I was constantly trying to find ways that and reasons why that this is just going to fail. Okay, I watched it. I'll never forget watching it go from like 200 and change. That whole entire bull run, right? From like 200 and change all the way up to 20K. And I kid you not, guys, as it was getting to like, once it crossed 1,000, I was like, all right, that's it. It's $1,000. We're done. This is nuts. And then it kept going and it kept going. And the problem is that you just, if you're paying attention to this, at some point you say to yourself, I don't understand this, and I need to understand this as best I can. That's what ends up happening. It's and again, right? It kind of goes back to guys like Odell's point, right? Like this is where you end up humbling yourself. And I know that people, for whatever reason, some people don't like the term humble. They think that it has like connotations of like you're not proving that you're your best, or you're kind of withholding who you are. No, that has nothing to do with that, right? It is a clear understanding that you are given the exact same properties as every other human being, and that none of us are special for it, right? It all has to do with how we choose to use these things. So the point is that, hey, that's all we had to do. All we had to do was stay humble and stack sats. Anyways, all right, last story, guys. Here we go. This is some good news. We have a lot of conversations about gamification and about Bitcoin integrating into games. And I think a lot of people, or at least the people I've spoken to, have the same opinion that game companies are never going to allow a currency that can kind of move outside of their game or their ecosystem, right? Because apparently it takes away the value proposition, right? Because let's face it, if they're issuing you, like the Roblox world or something like that, if they're issuing you some type of a currency in game, right, then the money you spend in that game stays there, and so does the currency, right? It's a proper moat and it's a closed system. What Bitcoin introduces is that now all of a sudden you can play whatever game, and your currency is essentially outside, but also can be used inside the game. So it is no longer regulated to the moat. So yeah, this is a shout out to Nico Nixonauts, I believe it is, tagged me in this this morning. So here we go. Apple approves first ever iOS game integrating Bitcoin microtransactions powered by Zebedee or ZBD. Yeah, guys, we actually had the founder of Zebedee on the show. I think it was like a year or a year and a half ago. I'll link to it in this this live stream if you guys want to check it out. But I think this is huge. I think that this is a good start. I do. I understand that it may seem counterintuitive to game manufacturers and game makers that they use some type of a currency outside of their walled garden, but I'm not convinced. I am not convinced that that's actually true. And I think that quite possibly we may end up seeing that whole entire ecosystem, the gaming ecosystem with their own little in-game currencies, I think this may get disrupted by Bitcoin. Because in the end, right, these gaming companies, they could feasibly make a fee, every time you transact in the game. So the other thing is this, right? Like, and the thing I was thinking of was that if you go and spend, like, you go and give $100, let's say to Roblox, they give you the in-game currency. They don't want you taking that Roblox money and going to another game, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. So this is why I think that Bitcoin actually does fix this, and it kind of levels the playing field, and it changes the landscape of how people view in-game currencies. Anyways, yeah, guys, wild week. This is how I wanted to finish it. Wanted to give a little tribute, right? Pour one out for the haters of Bitcoin. That's right, guys. It's okay. We love you. We appreciate your salt, right? When you give us rebuttals and tell us why Bitcoin's going to die, it allows us to sharpen our swords and zoom out and do a little more research and realize why Bitcoin isn't going to die and why we need to stack a little bit more. Guys, have a great weekend. I'm going to catch you next week. Peace.